Welcome to the Class Business Podcast. I'm Krissy, Monaghan, your host, and today we are joined by Pauline Suarez, a franchisee with Conexus Tuition, where she supports children to build their confidence, strengthen their skills, and achieve their potential. Pauline is a finalist for Tutor of the Year, sponsored by Joe Baranti at the Class Business Awards. I can't wait for this conversation, so let's dive in. Pauline, it's absolutely amazing to have you here with us today. For everyone who is listening online or watching us on YouTube, please tell everyone who you are, what do you do, and where do you do it?
So my name is Pauline Suarez, and I'm the Principal Director of Conexus Tuition, Canary, Wharf, and Ladbroke. I spent my first 22 years as a teacher, so in classrooms in inner city schools from 2000 to 2022. In 2022, I made the decision to leave the classroom, not because I didn't enjoy teaching, but because I felt like I could make a bigger impact through tutoring. So I had a side hustle. I taught at a local tuition center, and I thought, I really, really love this. And I loved that close connection. I loved working with children, and I loved getting to know them inside out, backwards, forwards. And I was just making such huge advances with children one-on-one. I thought, this is my passion, and I really want to do this. So in 2022, I left to start my own business, ended up just being a sole entrepreneur, working for other people and doing bits of work, but still was quite unfulfilled. In 2024, I bought a franchise with Conexus Tuition franchise, and since then, I've gone from strength to strength to strength.
Oh, right. So first of all, where are you originally from? You're not a Londoner. No. You're not from London.
I am definitely not a Londoner, and I'm not Irish either, to the shock of many people. I was born and raised in Canada, in a province called Saskatchewan, in a really small town called Gull Lake. So I'm from a town of about 1,000 people. There are more cows than people where I'm from.
And what brought you over to the UK?
So when I graduated from university, I was looking for every kind of job I could. So I applied for places like Mexico, London, all over the world. Anywhere they would allow a woman to apply, I applied because I wanted to travel and I wanted a bit of adventure. So I really, really wanted the Mexico job. I learned Spanish. I had a brilliant interview. I was the best candidate ever. But back in those days, it was before the internet was huge in Mexico, and they sent a letter. In the meantime, a recruiting agent came from London to my university and said, who wants to go to London? I remember putting up my hand and said, I do. In the interview, I was terrible. They said, why do you want to come to London? And I said, I'd love to have a pint in a pub. In my teaching interview, and they still hired me. But I got here and I loved it. I must be honest, my first day, I was teaching in Hackney. I showed up 2 hours or 3 hours before the school day to get ready. It was just me and the super rat outside the school for about 2.5 hours until the head teacher showed up. When she showed up, it was this little old lady. And I said, where have you been? I've been waiting for hours. And she was like, don't speak to me like that. I'm the head teacher. And I was like, oops, sorry. She came in, she was like, can I observe your very first lesson? And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. I didn't know how to fill out the register. The children were terribly behaved, but I did the best that I could. I had a smile on my face. She loved me, asked me to sign like a lifelong contract. I was like, no, thank you. And my journey began in London.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. Well, yeah, because obviously you're going from a town that's got like 1,000 people, like to a gazillion thousand people in London must have been a bit of a culture shock and obviously very exciting at the time. And so obviously you started your career in Hackney. Your franchise is based where in Canary Wharf? What area is it?
So I bought the area of Canary Wharf, but because I'd worked with Grenfell Tower survivors as well, the franchisor kindly gave me Canary Wharf and also Ladbroke so I could continue my work with them. So
let's talk about that, because I read that in your application. So obviously everyone knows about that, disaster. It was horrible, and I was from London and I remember seeing it at the time. What was that connection for you? How did that connection start?
Well, I was just tutoring loads of children who were Grenfell survivors. And then I became very well known within the Royal Borough of Chelsea and Kensington. And then the dedicated support workers started to know me, and anytime they had a child with a need, and they knew I could help support that child, because they knew when I supported a child that they would make the grade, that they would get to their GCSEs, they would get their A levels, they'd get their top choice of uni, they would get into the 11 plus schools, and they just knew when I offered the tuition that I would do it at a superior level to other providers they'd been using. They kept calling me because I was their preferred person, and every time they sent me a child, it didn't matter. They could be 4 years old with special needs or 25 years old and writing their dissertations from their PhD, and I would, if I couldn't do it myself, I would find the appropriate person to help them to achieve their goals. So we supported one survivor who was dyslexic and couldn't get her dissertation out. So 4 hours a week, I would send someone to her house, and she would basically describe her thoughts for her so she could submit her dissertation, which she eventually did with our support. But she says to me quite frequently, I never would have submitted had you not been there to support me. I've supported the 4-year-old who on the weekend would spend 4 hours one-on-one with my tutor just to give mom a bit of respite, so mom had a bit of rest. And, you know, she was developing, like, he loved Minnie Mouse, so she was developing a Minnie Mouse, like, school of thought for him to work through. And we were just doing bespoke, lovely activities that were really capturing our children, and they were just showing amazing progress. Because I believe in trauma-informed practice, and I believe in the relational approach. So that's what's really key to me, to helping children, to really getting to know them, to knowing what they love, and even their dislikes, because once you know their dislikes, you know what to avoid, and just go with what they're interested in. Because when children are empowered, they can do whatever they want. And it's a lovely feeling to take a child who maybe hates education, to go around to, from I hate math to, Pauline, I love math now. Math is my favorite subject. Do you know how good I am at math? And that to me is my happiest moment.
So cool. And is your business, is it like you talked about doing some one-to-one? Is it one-to-one, small groups? Do you have a venue or location, or you go into people's homes? How does it work?
So the venue is pretty glamorous. It's a flat roof. It's corrugated iron. There's no internet to this day. It's the local community center, and it's very local to me. It's probably built in the 70s, I'm guessing. It's a peach-colored building, but it's brilliant because it's on the main road around the Isle of Dogs, and the children can get there. There's parking there. It doesn't look glamorous from the outside, but what happens on the inside is amazing. So we do have a tuition center twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We do one-to-ones in the house. We are Ofsted registered as voluntary childcare providers, which means that anyone who's on universal credit or with some benefit can get some of a refund of their money, which makes our services much more applicable. So tuition classes are great for people with less budget or anyone on universal credit, because they do get the refunds from HMRC. And then we have a much more VIP service, which is in your house, if you want that quiet and that private, or if your child has extreme special needs and cannot learn in a venue with anyone else.
Well, that sounds awesome. And what topics do you teach?
You name it. Basically, so initially I was just doing primary and secondary, but since then we've expanded up to the PhD students. So in session, we do from 4 years old, and we started the 4 years old group from parents and carers saying, you teach my year 2 child, but you don't teach my 4-year-old. Why aren't you teaching my 4-year-old? So I didn't initially want a 4-year-old's tuition, but actually I've got a great early years teacher. She's singing songs, playing games, up, down, on the floor. At the end of it, she's just glistening because it's such hard work for an adult to be that active all the time. But they learn tremendously, and they do phonics and math. We do primary, so we do SATs provision for year 2, for year 6. We do Key Stage 3, which is years 7, 8, and 9 in math, English, and science. And then we do GCSEs in math, English, and science. So I have an English tutor who's like an a head of Key Stage 4 at her school, and she's at an outstanding state school. And she comes in and teaches the children in small groups, whether they're AQA or EdExcel. She targets the training so that they can achieve the best marks they can in their GCSEs. And that's what we do within Centre. But outside of Centre, we can go as far as PhDs.
Wow, that's a massive spectrum of education opportunities.
I can't personally teach the PhDs. I'm not that smart enough, but I do hire some very intelligent tutors who are just as committed to children and students as I am. And I'm very thorough about their motivations for wanting to come and tutor for me. So yes, as long as they're aligned with me and they want the best for children and students, and we do offer a great range of services.
And how many people, like you talk about you hire tutors to come in to do the work for you. How many people are in your team or you can pull on?
So I believe there's myself and 15 tutors in the team currently, but I have had as many as 20 depending on the need. So sometimes I hire subject specialists, sometimes I hire classroom teachers. It just depends. Like I've got a brilliant physics tutor who's doing his PhD in robotics. Do you know what I mean? But he's just so passionate about physics, and he's so good at doing like high level math and physics and calculus and things that I'm just not smart enough for.
And well, I'm sure you are, but one of the questions that I know the audience would like to know, because one of the biggest struggles I know that providers have is finding the right people, is hiring people. How have you found your people? And like, is there any tips you could give them on recruitment? Because I know that would be something that people are like, I can't find the right people. And then obviously, how do I, when I do find them, what recruitment process do I take them through to make sure they're actually good enough to be working on my behalf?
So I have a very good sixth sense, and I know that's really hard, but I always believe my gut. So when I'm interviewing someone and I'm like, why do you want to work for us? Why do you want to tutor? And if you just tell me about money and location, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm that keen. And I will, I've mentioned this before on LinkedIn, and some people get really cross with me and they're like, well, everybody needs to work for money. And I fully understand that. But for me, if you don't care about the children, if you don't care about the students, even if I was serving coffee, I care about my customers. So if you don't want the best for your customers, and I think when you speak to potential tutors and people who want to work for you, you know straight away. You'll be like, what's the best moment? What's the best moment you have from teaching and learning? What's the best? And you can judge from a person really, really quickly, whether it's all about them or whether it's about their customers. And to me, I know I'm going to align with someone who really cares and thinks about the customers and who really wants their best for them. And that's really how I do it. But I also do that through LinkedIn. So I try and connect with as many people within education, within special educational needs. And I really try, and I express myself quite honestly. And I say, I'm really about the children. If you align with me, get in contact. And I feel because I send out that energy, I get a lot of that energy back. And it's very rare for me to meet a tutor who doesn't align with me, because I'm so vocal about caring for children and caring about their progress and their abilities. And if you can do that for me, I will literally, I'll massage your feet, because that's exactly the kind of people I want representing me and my brand.
Well, it sounds like you've got it nailed, and obviously, yeah, using LinkedIn to find them, and obviously asking the right questions. And how many years are you into this current business now?
So you won't believe this, but I only started in 2024. So I'm like 2.5 years in.
Early, 2.5 years. And what's your plans for the rest of this year? Like, what are you focusing on?
So my plans would be to strengthen my reputation in the local community. And if you know anything about the local community or the local community pages, my name always gets mentioned for a tutor, which is really, thankfully, because of great word of mouth and because the people in the local area know how good and how hard we work for the children. So it's amazing to see. But so I still want to strengthen that, because I do believe there are facets of the local community where we're not quite as well known, or our reputation isn't as well known. I would like to do more volunteering actually in the local community, because I believe it's very important. I would like more relationships with schools, because we're very good at helping children at key points, especially exam years, because we can be very exam-focused tuition if that's what schools want or need. So I would like a few more links with schools, although we do have some. I would like to build and develop on that. And I would like more links with local authorities to help children in alternative provision and help more children who are educated other than at school or can't make it into school for various health or emotional reasons, because we work very well with educational-based school anxiety. Actually, just this year, in September of last year, I was diagnosed as having ADHD. So I am neurodivergent, and I am very committed to inclusion and neurodivergent girls and helping them get back into school, get back into education, and to feel successful and confident so they can make the most out of their lives.
And yeah, and if you're like, I was talking to someone on another podcast interview yesterday, and they were saying they help children build their confidence in their classes. Anxiety was one of the things that was raised of why children's confidence is low. And I asked them, and I'll ask you the same, why do you think that is? Like, why do you think we've got more children with anxiety than ever we have maybe before?
I feel like our society is built for pressure points. So we've got a pressure point of year 2, we've got SAT. We've got a pressure point of year 6, we have SATs again. We have a pressure point of GCSEs, and these children feel pressure. And then they hop on their phone and they don't look like Heidi Klum, or I don't even know if anyone is cool because I'm so old, but like they don't look like the Instagram models. And even me myself, people like years ago, I remember them saying, why don't you have an Instagram? And I was like, I don't have an Instagram body. I feel like we get all these messages where we feel like we're not good enough, when my body's fantastic and I love myself and I'm really confident. But I feel like our society is almost based so that we're always comparing ourselves, and we feel like we can't be enough. But we need to scrap that, especially for our children. We need to protect our children from the internet. We need to protect our children from that kind of noise, because it can be so damaging for our young ones. And I don't know the best way to do that, because I know children love their phones, but I think it's about protecting children so that they still feel good, they still feel confident, they can still connect with their friends, they can still use social media occasionally, but so that it doesn't become another wall that they have to scale. And remember, we are dealing with post-COVID kids, so they have that period of disruption. And I think we need to start understanding that it's not about being perfect, it's about progress. And if I'm 1% better today than I was yesterday, that's brilliant. I don't have to be perfect to be a wonderful human. I just have to be a little bit better than yesterday. And if I'm trying and aiming towards that, then I'm very happy with myself. And I think we need to instill that in children, that fail just means first attempt in learning. It doesn't mean last attempt. It just means I'm going to learn from this, and next time I can do it. Or if I can't do it next time, I can do it the time after.
Yeah, and I totally agree. And then when it'll be so interesting to see what happens when the social media ban kicks in the spring, apparently for under 16s. And so when you're, obviously you've got yourself, and I assume you're out there delivering and you've got a team delivering, is that the ethos that you try and bring to your work? So when you are working with children, there's like you've got your own strategies and the ways that you bring the best out of them.
Yeah, so I really believe in a relationship with children first. So I believe that if children like me, and this is actually backed by science, so if you like your teacher, you'll do 20% better than if you don't. Or approximately, I can't remember the exact percentage, but it's around 20%. So I always think, oh, I'm going to make them like me first. So I find out what they like, who their favorite music is, what their favorite colors, who's their favorite sports team, what they're interested in. And I will, sometimes I even go away and do a bit of research on like, what's Billie Eilish's hair looking like this week? So I have that conversation with, or how did Barcelona do in their clash with Madrid? Because I want to know what my kids know. So I have conversation starters so they know I'm on their team. And I will speak to children about what they're interested in, and I will show them, and my actions will show them that I care about them. We never say no, we never say mistake. We build them up, we give them confidence. If you've done something right, I'll congratulate you, I'll high five you, we'll make a big splash in the show. If they haven't done something perfectly, I'll be like, here's the way to do it. Do you know what I mean? It's nothing. We just brush over that, and we try to celebrate success, minimize anything that's not, and so that when children leave, they feel more confident, they feel successful, and they've had a brilliant time. And we always end with a game, and we always make them feel fun and successful. And I always lose. I'm a great loser.
So the work you're doing sounds absolutely incredible, and it sounds like it's so much fun as well, because I feel like sometimes when people hear the words tuition, they feel like, I think they think of it's like there's a child and there's the tutor, and it's like that relationship. I think that's what people have in their head. But from what you're describing to me, that's not the case.
Like parents always say, what do I bring? What do I bring? And I'm like, a snack and a smile. You bring a snack and then you're happy because you get to have something nice to eat, and you bring a smile. So just bring a good attitude. I'll do the rest. I will be your performing monkey. I will make it fun. I will make it exciting, energetic, enthusiastic. And I will take, I can't do math to I love math. That's all up to me. It's only up to parents to get them in the door. It's up to me to charm them and get them to stay.
Oh, it sounds absolutely incredible. If parents want to come and connect with you to come find out more about your services, where's the best place to find you?
Well, we're over all the social media. So LinkedIn, I'm Pauline Suarez, FRSA. We're on Facebook, Conexus Tuition, Canary, Wharf, and Ladbroke Grove. We're on Instagram, Conexus Tuition, Canary, Wharf, and Ladbroke Grove. We're all over all the social media platforms. We have a website, Google us, and my number is probably splashed all over everything. My email address is pauline@conexustuition.co.uk.
Well, we'll make sure that that's all included in the show notes so people can come and connect with you. And the same for if you are watching this interview and it's resonated with you and you want to find out more about how Pauline's doing business in London, because that's a different ball game in itself, then please, she's outlined where you can come and connect with her. I'm sure she'll be delighted to speak to you. And Pauline, you are going to be with us on the 10th of October.
You bet.
At Birmingham. So all the finalists can come and meet you there on that day. Thank you so much for your time. I've found it really, really interesting and fascinating. You're doing amazing things. So I can't wait to see where you are by October when I see you in person to find out how much further you've got on your business journey. But the first 2 years sounds incredible.
Yes, it's been amazing. I must say, my favorite ever story about tuition is I had a child when I very first opened in January, and she was scoring a 0 in her mocks. She came to us. She was EBSA, so educational-based school avoidance. She hated going to school, hated her teachers. She would share this and express this with us. She would only come to my tuition agency. By June, she scored 4s and 5s and went from a neat pathway to training to be a dental nurse. And she is my favorite ever story and my superstar of Conexus, one of the very many.
And that's just incredible, because it just shows, we know that the education system isn't perfect right now for children. And if you hadn't intervened, then yes, she would have been going down the NEAT route, which is not in education and training for anyone that doesn't know that part. But now you've given her a career, and you can't put a price on that.
Yes. So for anyone who's interested in tuition, our rates are from £15 an hour upwards. Please reach out. If we can help you or your child, we'd love to do that.
Oh, brilliant. Amazing. So thank you so much, Pauline, for today.
Thank you very much. I can't wait for the big event.